Hey, what's up? I'm Ashley, and today we're going to be talking about True Detective Night Country, Season 4, Episode 5. So let's get started. It's December 31st, the 14th day of night, and we see Julia's ashes getting prepared. After the lady is done, she gives the ashes to Navaro, who wasn't even supposed to be there watching. But the lady let her stand there and watch anyway, after making her promise not to tell anyone. Then we see Liz going to visit Otis in the hospital, where she only has 10 minutes to question him because he's going through withdrawals. So her first question is, did you know Clark? He said, no, I didn't know him, but I knew about Salah. But he didn't know any of the men there. Liz asked him, what did Clark want with him? Otis said he wanted to know how I survived my injuries. Liz said, well, how did you? He said, look at me. Do it look like I survived my injuries? I can barely sit up and turn around in this bed right. This is what you call surviving? Because I'm in pain. This hurt. She asked him where was Clark now. He said, I don't know where that man at. Then Liz says, what did you mean when you said he was going back to the night country? Otis said, I said that? I don't remember saying that. I don't remember Clark saying that to me, but one thing's for sure. That man is crazy. He just be saying anything. Liz said, well, what else did he say? Otis said, Clark said, she's awake. And that's when Liz gets a flashback of that time she was sleeping and Holden saying she's awake. But she didn't mention that, of course. She just brushed that right on off. Clark said she's awake a bunch of times. He also said, I have to hide, and she's out there. Otis calls him a creepy MFer. He said, that's a creepy mother effer right there. He goes on to tell her about the day that he got his injuries, which was 30 years ago. He said there was a cave in where men died and got trapped in the ice. Otis said him and some people ran out to help, but there was a blizzard. That's when he heard something screaming and howling. Him and the men went to go help, but then there was nothing. He woke up in the hospital where his eyes was burnt out and his hearing was bad. Liz then had him point out where the entrance is on the cave on the map that he was mapping out. When he shows it to her, he tells her that she cannot go alone because the caves collapse. And that is like crawling on thin glass. Liz tells him that he's going to take them there. He's like, I can't like this. She said, well, you will be better in a few days, so you're going to take us there, whether you like it or not. He then grabs her by the arm as she's trying to walk away, and he tells her, that's not what I mean. I mean, give me some drugs. Give me some drugs so I'll be able to get better real quick and I can take you there. She's like, I can't do that and break the rules. I can't break the rules for you. He didn't want to hear that. He said, your time is up, and turned his back to her. Get up out my face. Navaro picks up Liz, and when Liz gets inside the car, she tells Navaro that she found the entrance to the cave. She then looks in the back seat and sees Julia's urn buckled in a seatbelt. And it's not funny, but why did I laugh? Kayla kicks Pete out the house. She said, here, this is your bag, and please don't come back tonight. Just go. I don't want to hear it. Pete's like, you just can't kick me out. This is my house too. But she gone. She done walked away from you already. Like I said, she don't want to hear it. Navaro and Liz are headed to the cave, which is on Silver Sky property. On their way there, Liz tells Navaro that Leah has a girlfriend. Navaro's like, so what? I had a bunch of those. Liz is like, well, I guess the whole girlfriend is okay, but she's turned into one of those crazy radicals that splashes that black paint all over the place. But Navaro tells her she's not crazy. It's the water. It's the poisonous water that the people are drinking in the town that's making these people act like this. Liz is all like, I know, but if you know, then why did you just say that then? Then we go to the next scene where Leah is putting that black paint all over her face. And she's with her girlfriend Sherry, and they're getting ready for this protest about the poisonous water and all the stillborn babies. Because of that water, we get back to Liz and Navaro, and they make it to the cave, but when they get to the cave, someone blew the entryway shut and Navaro is pissed. She walked away and had a tantrum. She got back in the car. She ready to go. Since Pete has just been kicked out the house, we get this really quick scene of him overhearing his dad singing and playing the guitar about how there's no God, there's no king, and how you're bound to lose. So what? And we still hear this song playing in the background as we're at the protest, and at the same time, we see Navaro and the rest of the police on their way there. But Peter calls his dad to tell him that Kayla thinks they need some time apart, and can he stay with him? Hank tells him, yeah, come on over. And during this conversation, they're both lying to each other. Peter tells him he's 5 minutes away when he's right outside the door. And Hank told him he was working on his truck when he was really over there putting on a whole concert. The police is starting fights. They're beating people up when this could have just been a peaceful protest. And I'm like, why is Navaro there? Why did she go there? What's she doing there? which makes me believe that Navaro has a dark side, something she don't even know she have. Something similar to like an alter ego. Remember when Oliver asked her what was her name and she said Evangeline, and he said something like, "Oh, you must have forgot." That was said for a reason. I don't think that was a coincidence. But at this protest, Navarro ends up seeing Annie's ghost just standing there looking at her. They're just standing there, staring at each other. Then eventually Annie disappears. But why is she standing there looking at Navarro? All the people that look at, she looking at Navarro. Something is going on with Navarro. Is she the killer? Or does she just have this special gift where the dead is trying to tell her something? Or is the dead trying to bring her with them? What is going on? But so anyway, the police beat Leah down to the ground. Leah was calling out for Sherry. She was like, "Sherry, Sherry, help me, Sherry." Sherry turned around, looked at her, and ran away. She got up out of there. She like, "Better you than me." So Leah is still down on the ground and Navarro comes in to save her. The police gets mad at Navarro for helping Leah, so he pushes Navarro. That's when Navarro takes off on him and start beating him up. Just beating him up. She down for a fight whenever, wherever. She don't care. She about to beat you up. Meanwhile, Liz gets a call from Connolly telling her Kate is mad about this protest. Liz is like, "Why I gotta go down there? It's just a protest." He said, "Because you're the chief of police. Get down there and I'll see you there." She said, "What? What you gonna be there for? What's going on?" So as she's on the phone with him, Navarro calls her and tells her that she doesn't have good news about her daughter. She tells Liz what happened at the protest, so Liz told her to take her in and book her. Take her to jail. What was interesting about Leah and Navarro's conversation in the car was when Navarro asked her what was she doing there, what was she thinking, and Leah said, "Well, what were you doing there? What were you thinking? Whose side are you on anyway?" And Navarro didn't even answer. She just kept on driving. And it's hard to tell, but in this moment, after Leah asked her, it looks like she could be hiding something by her facial expression, or at the same time, she could be thinking, "What was I doing there? What's going on with me?" She probably blacked out. That whole alter ego thing. I don't know, but y'all let me know what y'all think. Liz goes up to Pete and asks him if he knew whether or not Leah was going to the protest. He tells her no because he just got kicked out the house. Liz is like, "Oh, sorry about that. Do you need somewhere to stay?" Peter tells her no, it'll just make things worse and it'll make us definitely get a divorce after that. He starts to tell her that he has good news, but when he does, that's when Leah walks in with Navarro. But then he goes on to tell her what the good news is, which is that the tunnels actually owns the mine, which connects them to the scientists. Liz points out that the people at the mine gives money to the researchers. And in exchange, they make up these bogus pollution numbers, so they just be out there lying. So Liz is thinking, this is bigger than what I thought it was. Peter brings Leah some snacks in jail. He brings her some chips and a Pepsi, but she doesn't like Pepsi. She would rather have Mountain Dew, but they don't got that in there right now. She ends up drinking the Pepsi anyway because I guess everything tastes good in jail, huh? But Leah tells Peter that Kayla told her the story about how she fell in love with him and to not let Liz change him. We go to the scene where Navarro is asking Liz, is she really going to make Leah stay in jail? Then they go into how Liz is covering for Navarro again for getting into a fight with that trooper. So it seems like Liz has been out there covering up for Navarro multiple times. But before Liz goes to meet Colony and Kate, she gives Navarro the paperwork of the LLC that involved the mind and the researchers. Liz gets to the meeting with Ted and Kate, and when she gets there, they show her that they have her and Navarro on video, and Kate asks her why were the both of them in a remote section of Silver Sky Land. Liz tells her it's police business that has to do with the Salah investigation. Kate goes on to ask her what led them to that location. Liz tells her that they had intel about that area, about how there was an abandoned cave there and how they located this engineer. Liz wasn't going to tell them the engineer's name until Kate was like, "Who was it? Who's the engineer?" And that's where Liz messed up. She should have kept that to herself or made up a name or something. But she ends up telling them that it was Otis Heist. And you can tell by Kate's face that she knew something and wasn't going to tell it. Kate goes on to tell her, well, there's good news because it turns out that this isn't a murder case at all. Ted tells her that forensics came back and it turns out that the whole thing was a weather event. He said that it was a slab avalanche, that they're sudden and can move at 100 miles an hour. That sounds like a cover-up and a lie. That's a lie, Maury. Maury, that's a lie. He goes on to tell her that it was the last sunset before the long night, so they probably just went out to see it, and that's when the avalanche happened. That's a lie, Maury. Liz tells them, so you're telling me they froze to death? Kate chimes in talking about, I know we're all relieved here. that there's not some wild, weird killer out there trying to kill us all. Girl, shut up. Liz goes on to say, well, that's convenient, isn't it? Because I just found out that the mine bankrolls Salah. Kate is trying to cover up, saying, well, yeah, of course, because we donate to a lot of worthy research projects. Liz is like, shut your mouth, because the funding is for an independent outfit that verifies your pollution numbers. So how about that? You don't think that's a conflict of interest? Kate's all like, well, I'll have to look into that. You don't gotta look into nothing because you already know what's going on. Kate leaves the room after Liz tells her that her man don't know how to put it down. And she tells Ted that the Annie K case in this cave is connected and that they're really close to solving this case. But Ted reminds her of what happened with that Wheeler case and lets her know that he knows that it wasn't really a murder-suicide and tells her this case is closed. Get over it. We see this secret meeting between Kate and Hank where she's telling him Liz just won't let this case go and that she cannot find that cave. Hank tells her that he doesn't know what he can do about that, so Kate tells him, well, just maybe let Otis take her to the cave. Hank wants to get Ted involved, but Kate tells him that Ted is just a political animal, that he's weak, and lets Hank know that he's sleeping with Liz. Hank points out that he's done something for her before, but that she broke her promise. She's like, yeah, but you still got paid. He brings up that he was supposed to be the chief. Kate tells him she had no idea that they were going to bring Liz back to Ennis. So since Liz came back, he wasn't able to be chief anymore. She tells him it won't happen like before because now she has more pull now. She has more control. Hank tells her, I'm not a killer. Kate makes him repeat that she didn't ask him to kill anyone. She wants him to handle this without giving her too much detail. Navaro is at the laundromat, and as she's reaching into the washing machine, she pulls out what looks to be her mother's hair. She starts digging around even more, and that's when Kato walks in and asks her if she was okay. They're having small talk, and then all of a sudden, there goes Kavik yelling from outside saying, there she goes, I found her. So when he gets inside the laundromat, he gives her the stone with the spiral on it. He brought Kenny with him, and Kenny tells Navaro that his grandfather told him that whenever he saw that spiral to run, get up out of there, and that people leave them as a warning for hunters to let them know all the places where the ice would swallow them whole. As he's telling her this, Blair comes walking in. Now, what's she walking in here for? And she looks suspicious. Why she got that look on her face like that for? And she was looking suspicious that time Liz was asking her questions. But Kenny goes on to tell Navaro that when he was a kid, he would sneak to play with these caves and how his grandmother would get mad at him and tell him that the night country was coming to get him. At the station, Navaro lets Liz know that she found a way to get inside the cave, but Liz lets her know that the whole thing is over. She tells her everything that Ted told her about the avalanche, but Navaro's telling her that the only thing that she really cares about is this Annie K case. But then Liz lets her know that Ted knows about what happened at the Wheeler house, and if we keep pushing this thing, then he'll probably let everybody know. But Navaro doesn't care. She's like, we're so close, and she's still trying to find evidence. But Liz is begging her at this point to please let this go. Before walking out, Navaro tells Liz that Annie is on her now. She tells Liz that she's leaving Annie alone in that cave and that Annie K is on her now. She's going to be thinking about her every day, just like she was. Then Navaro goes and releases Leah out of jail without Liz's permission and then looks at her like, do something and see what happened to you. Hank tells a story to Peter about the time he fell through the ice and thought that Peter was about to die, but how he was able to save him. I think he told him this because he knew how close Peter was getting to Liz, so he was just trying to remind him that family is first. And without saying it, I'm about to go do something dumb. I'm about to go follow Liz to this cave because Kate gave me orders to. We see Rose helping Navaro put her sister's ashes in the ice. Navaro starts to hear whispers, then starts walking even further on the ice. We then cut to that scene where that crash was, where we saw Holden tell her, tell my mommy. Then we cut back where Navaro is standing on top of this ice and the ice is cracking. She about to fall in. Rose is like, get down, get down. So Navaro had to crawl down low so that she wouldn't fall through this ice. Rose said, what were you doing? What are you thinking going out there that far? That girl wasn't there. She was gone. She was in a daze. But I wonder, why did she have that specific flashback while she was out there on that ice? Like, why did she go back to that time when Holden popped up and it was that crash? Liz went to go visit Leah while she was in the tub. Girl can't get no privacy. She was just in jail where there's no privacy. Now she thought she was going to get some privacy in the bathtub and she can't even do that. Liz asked Leah to come home for the new year, but she's not trying to do that. She then tells her about the 9 babies that were stillborn and how there's 9 mothers out there without their baby. But before Liz leaves, Leah lets her know that she hasn't given up on her yet. After that conversation, Liz went to go visit the dead, and that's where we saw that Hank was following her there. When she gets inside, that's when she finds out that these are all the bodies of the people who can't get buried yet because of the weather. This includes all of the babies, and I think this got Liz thinking about all the stillborn babies and the mothers losing their babies and how she can relate to it because she lost her son Holden. And that's what motivates her to get back involved in this case. Then we see Liz go back to the office to get the drugs out of the evidence room so that she can give them to Otis because she's planning on going to that cave. And as she's doing that, Hank is still following her, looking creepy back there like he Michael Myers or somebody. Liz asked Peter if he told his dad about the Wheeler case, and he says he didn't. Then she comes to the conclusion that Hank hacked into Peter's laptop and that it wasn't hard to do because his password is easy. But Peter is suspicious about this whole Wheeler case, so he starts to ask Liz what really happened. He was asking all the wrong questions until Liz made him come up with the right one, which was, did you know Wheeler was left-handed? He tells her that he knows the files were tampered with and how the pictures was edited and flipped to make it seem like he shot himself on this certain side when really he didn't, and that the real question is, did you and Navaro kill Wheeler and cover it up? Liz told him, learn when to stop asking questions. Liz leaves, then that's when Hank walks in and tries to have a conversation with Peter, but Peter isn't trying to talk to him because he's mad at him because he just found out that his dad hacked into his computer. Liz finds Otis to tell him that she has the drugs, so come on, let's go. And that's when she calls Navaro, who is at Kavik's house. So when Navaro gets this call to go, Kavik tells Navaro to come back, and he's holding on to her hand for dear life. He's like, come back. So I wonder if this is foreshadowing anything. Is she going to come back? Is he going to die? What's going to happen? Then we see Otis showing Liz how to get inside of the cave at the high point, and then he goes inside of the bathroom to get high. As Navaro is making her way to Liz's house, she sees this little boy stop in the middle of the street to point at her. Everybody loves to point at her. This little boy, Lon, her mama, Wheeler's girlfriend, everybody loves to point at her. Then we get back to Liz's house where Hank is knocking on the door with his made-up story talking about how he has to take Otis in. Liz tries to call Connolly to make sure that this story is legit and at the same time trying to get to her weapon, but Hank gets to her weapon first. Liz tries to calm him down, but then Otis hears all the commotion happening outside, so he comes out the bathroom and he wants to know what's going on. Hank points the gun at Otis and tells him that he's taking him in and that he's going to handle this whole thing the same way that Liz and Navaro handled that Wheeler case. Otis tries to walk away, and that's when Hank shoots him 2 times. Now, remind you, Hank just got done telling Kate that he's not a killer, which makes me think, did he really kill Annie and not just move her body from one place to another like he said he did? So with all this commotion, Peter comes into the room with his gun out because Peter is now staying in Liz's shack in the back somewhere because of him being mad at his dad. But Peter has the gun pointed at his dad, and Liz is telling Peter, think, to just stop and think for a minute. But when Hank points his gun at Liz, acting like he's about to shoot her, that's when Peter shoots his dad and kills him. But before he did shoot him, Hank confessed to moving Annie K's body, which I think is a lie. I think he did more because he was so bold to shoot Otis like this. Peter then drops down to the ground and Liz is consoling him. Then Navaro is here at this point, and Liz is talking about how she wants to call Connolly to fill him in, but she's like, no, you can't call him because he's in this too. He's part of the problem. Navaro then comes up with a plan to get rid of the bodies. She says the story is going to be that Hank got to Otis, then kills him, and as Hank was trying to get rid of Otis's body, that's when Hank gets into an accident. She says we have to hurry up and do this now while we have the storm at our advantage, which makes me think, have you been doing this before? It didn't take her long to come up with this plan at all. I think she a pro. They all decide that Peter will be the one to stay back and clean up the mess since it is his dad. Navaro tells Peter to take this to Rose and to tell her to take me where Julia is. She'll know what to do. So they're planning on putting those bodies in the ice. So while he's staying back cleaning up, Liz and Navaro are on their way to the cave. But with only 1 episode left, we still have a lot of questions that need to be answered, and hopefully none are overlooked or rushed in this finale. But y'all let me know your thoughts and theories down in the comments so we can talk about it. And if you haven't already and want to see more videos like this, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in my next one.